the business recovery series. The people I see a number of people who are consistently attending the session. We are totally grateful. We appreciate you. We celebrate you. We thank you for the support, for the referrals, for the endorsement, and the patronage you have given to Enterprise Uganda. We are totally excited. But most importantly, we are excited about the successes you have had in your businesses, the growth that you have seen, the jobs that you have created. For us at Enterprise Uganda, that is really what we would call the why of why we keep in the market. We believe that every time a new job is created, every time sales go up, every time we see your business expand from one branch to two, we know deep down that that is what success means, and that is what the country needs right now. So we're in the business of helping you on that journey, and we are extremely honored to do that work with you. And we hope and pray that as we go into 2026, we may even have more successes. Today, we want to take a moment to interrogate the year which is ending 2025 and really just attempt to do a 360-degree business review. I hope that through this conversation, each and every one of us will take a moment to reflect on their journey, and it has meant different things to different people, but that's really what this session is. Our last session for the year, and we really hope that we can go into the holidays having a bit of perspective on how should I think about this business that I have run for this year. For some people, it has been extremely successful. For others, it has been extremely challenging. But one thing we all share in common is that we are still here and we are still pushing. And it's for that reason, really, that we keep coming together through the Business Recovery Series to simply say, how do we stand strong together? How do we grow together? How do we overcome these challenges that we are having? My name is Ronald Mukasa. I'm the Chief Operating Officer here at Enterprise Uganda. It's always an honor to engage with the family of entrepreneurs. I bring you greetings from our leadership team at Enterprise Uganda. And we are very excited about the growth and the success we are seeing amongst our businesses, but more importantly, the resilience that we are seeing amongst you, the entrepreneurs. So today we want to dive into the conversation. I want you to I want to just start off with a quick, just really a survey. And I just want you to go to the chat box and I want you to explain this year in 2 or 3 words. What would you summarize the year to be? Just explain the year. You can say the year, you can even use one word. You can say the year has been great. You could say the year has been challenging. You could say the year has been promising. What one word, what 2 words, what 3 words can you use to explain the year? Please jump to the chat box and put that there. How would you explain 2025? Thank you, Mabel. Mabel has come through. Thank you, Mabel. Mabel says very challenging. Yes, the rest of us, what has the year been? Dennis says horrible. Martha says pruning season. Mukasa says disorganized year for me. Yes. Justin says successful. Christina says was promising. Gilbert says tough, unpredictable, encouraging. Started a new shop, a lot of learning. Year was promising. Mixed bags, yes. Shalom says good. The rest of us, eye-opening, challenging, and a lot. Numerous trials, progressive, rich in knowledge. Yes. The rest of us, how do you summarize this year? demanding. Thank you, Kello. Friends, from what we are seeing in the chat box, one thing which we can all agree on is that the year, it has been quite mixed. For some, it's been a promising year. It's been an encouraging year. For others, it's been a horrible year. I mean, you just can't wait for it to end. You look at the year and you're saying, this has been tough. This has been a really, really challenging year. And friends, in spite of what the year may have been for you, that's the purpose of this session. We are here to reflect, assess, and kind of refocus. Because as entrepreneurs, all the feedback we have put in the chat box is possibly what explains your entrepreneurial journey. At times it's challenging. At times it's demanding. At times it is encouraging. At times it's absolutely positive. But the journey is a combination of ups and downs. And as we run through this conversation, I want that question to keep rotating at the back of your mind, that indeed the journey is ups and downs. Now, where am I going to start? I'm just going to quickly give a couple of highlights of 2025. And at national level, some things have been truly fascinating. This year, Uganda became Africa's #1 coffee producer. Big progress. It's no ordinary feat. We overtook Ethiopia as the biggest coffee producer, and there's been success for the people who are in this sector. They know it's been quite a positive sector. Quite a positive sector. We have one of our clients here at Enterprise Uganda called Kasari Farmers Cooperative. They were ranked amongst the 50 top coffee producers in the country. And we celebrated with them. Fascinating growth. We have seen the road to the first oil. In March of 2025, the refinery agreement was signed, and we are hoping that in 2026, the first drop of oil will go out. Experts tell us that their country starts producing oil, things change. And we're hoping they'll change for the better, but whichever way, things are going to change. We saw the launch of NDP4, where we talked about the 10-fold growth strategy and the priority sectors, which are usually summarized at the ATMs: agro-processing, tourism, manufacturing and minerals, science, technology, and innovation. We have seen this happen. And it's absolutely exciting. We have seen the country has grown quite modestly, between 6 and 6.5%. And these are national statistics. These are things in the superstructure. But the truth is that in your business, it could be absolutely different. Yes, coffee is booming, but my business is not. Yes, oil is coming, but I feel like I'm losing every customer. So even at the same time as we are seeing some of these things, we are equally seeing turbulence. Turbulence in the business environment. And from the comments which have come through in the chat box, you'll agree with me that it has been a tough year, a turbulent year. We have seen things change in the world. I mean, the article which I put up there for me is one of the reflections of what the word turbulence means. We have seen entire institutions kind of coming out and they have been closed. For me, why you said is it would go. Many people were employed there. Many people were contractors there. Many people were service providers there. And that business disappeared. That institution disappeared. And the challenge, why I think this is important, is to understand that sometimes what hits your business, you don't know where it's coming from. You're in the printing business. You have been printing lots of things for USAID linked organizations, and bang, USAID closes. And they were your biggest customer, contributing 60 to 70% of your revenue. But here they are gone. And you have to deal with that reality that this group has disappeared. And it's challenging. It is tough. And it is that very experience, that very arrangement that makes business very complex. So in as much as there are positives on one side, we also feel the weight of the negatives, of the things which haven't gone. I mean, some of you have experienced this year, you have seen a competitor coming in and they start fighting unfair. And we have seen the competitor coming and undercutting you. Some of you have products which you manufacture and you have found someone manufacturing exactly the same product. You're looking for help because they're kind of really fraudulently putting your product on the market and you have failed to find it. We have seen, some of you have had challenges with the taxman. And you have got you had a tax audit. You get into a bit of a challenge because now what do? The taxman has come through and says you have a liability of 80 million. On your account, you barely have 500,000. And you haven't even paid staff yet. So friends, you need to understand and appreciate that the game plan and the challenge that we are facing as business owners is one where things are sometimes not as straightforward as you think they should be. And you need to ask yourself, as I reflect on this year, how can I summarize my year? Because all the responses you have given are true. For some, it has been straightforward. For others, it has not. But for all of us, it remains a really, really challenging journey. So I'm going to make a couple of reflections. I like this quote from Warren Buffett. He says, only when the tide goes out do we discover who's been swimming naked. Why I think it's a powerful quote is that all of us, we may seem like things are okay. But one customer, like you said, leaving our space, your business goes under. And yet you looked okay, you looked fine. All of us may look okay. But then you find that in one moment, because of a tax audit which happened, you're out of business. You have to close it. All of us may look okay, but you find that the death of the business owner actually spells the end to this business. So we don't know who is swimming naked. But you, the swimmer, you know whether you are naked or you are not. And as we reflect on the year, I want you to ask yourself, how have I been swimming? We can't tell you. For us, when we see you, you are driving a car. We see you, you are looking well. When we see you, we can't know. But you're the one who knows how much debt you have as a business. You are the one who knows that the reason why the business is still running is because you had to restructure the loan. You are the one who knows that half of your employees have not been paid for 3 months. You are the one who knows that your biggest supplier, who used to supply you on credit, now only demands cash. What has changed? You need to ask yourself, how am I swimming? Because we don't know. You are the one who knows. And it's for that reason that we take off time. And we thank all of you who have attended these sessions religiously for the entire year. But we take off time to reflect. And that's going to be at the heart of my session today. How are you swimming? Because we don't know. For us, we see your head and you look like you are fine. You look like you're okay. But are you really? That's the question we want to put into perspective. Now, me move. Sorry, my slides had. So, I'm going to share with you a couple of ways you can reflect on these ideas. I'm going to challenge you that as you reflect on the year, reflect on what we call the VPN. Reflect on the VPN. What is VPN? Reflect on your values, reflect on your people, reflect on your net cash flow. I would really want to challenge you to reflect in these areas. Why do you reflect in these areas? You reflect in these areas because these areas, in a way, touch on almost all of the sides of your business. I'm going to run through them one by one. What is your VPN? What should you reflect on? Let's start with the V. Values. What is it about them? Why are values important? Friends, when it boils down to it, all your business is about is what values, what are the foundations on which your business is built. There are not two ways about it. What are those values? We need to ask, and you yourself, do you believe in them? You tell us that one of my values is integrity, but do you believe in it? That's a challenge. What values? Why are they important? Let me look at a couple of them. The first one is, do you keep your word? Friends, business is largely about giving promises. Are you a man or a woman of your word? That's a challenge. I want you to reflect on it. I want you to take a moment and ask yourself, this year which is ending, how many promises did I make? Did I keep them? Some of them are very simple promises. You attended Global Entrepreneurship Week, you met 4 people, and you told them, you promised them, I will give you a call next week to follow up. Did you give the call? A customer comes through and you said, don't worry, it will be with you by the end of business tomorrow. Was it with the customer? That's the question. Because at the end of the day, if you can't do it as the business owner, your employees won't do it. If your employees won't do it, the business will never stand for those values. Friends, it's that basic. Integrity. This is a big one, friends. We need to ask ourselves, have we been actually honest? Have we been honest? How do we know that every time you tell us this is what you're going to do, we know that you will act with integrity? Friends, this is one of the things. You are a fumigation company. You come and fumigate, and you tell me you used a drug which can kill all the cockroaches, which can chase away the rats. And the truth is that after 2 weeks, the cockroaches come back. You haven't acted with integrity. And we need to get to that basic. Why is it that do people actually know that when you say, this is what I am going to, you will be telling them the truth? It's a big demand. It's a big demand. You are selling grain and you say the moisture content will be this percentage in my grain. Is it really? Is it really? Those are big, they're big, big questions. Because it is that is what forms the foundation. The customer needs to be able to put up their hand and say, I know those people act with integrity. Your customers themselves. Some of you may remember when Cafe Javas had an issue where one customer claimed that actually they had found, I think, was it a rat in a milkshake? The customers of Cafe Javas, I want to say it is impossible. I mean, Cafe Javas put a video, it showed how it had prepared the item, but the customers themselves said, no, it can't happen. They have built a reputation that if they tell you they are going to give you a milkshake, you know it has been made in by the highest standards possible. Is that happening? Adaptability. Friends, the situation is changing, and it's changing pretty fast. You are a lawyer and you're running a successful firm. A lot of your money has been made by drafting letters. A lot of it. Client comes and says, I want you to help me draft a contract for my tenant. Another one comes and says, I want you to help me draft an agreement for a business deal. But now we are in the advent of AI. And what does that mean to your business? You also read the letter developed by AI and you also say, this is actually quite impressive. How are you going to adapt? Will you keep saying, no, those AI things they're not okay? Or are you going to find a way of saying, how do I embed this in my business that I do? That's a question. And it remains a critical question, friends. We need to be able to adapt. Because if we do not adapt, in a way we are saying, what the conclusion which we have made is that we are not going to cross over, we are not going to squeeze beyond and have changes in the way we operate. So adaptability is another one. How do we keep learning? A continuous passion for learning. I really celebrate those of you who do the business recovery series. You have committed that at least every week I will learn something. Last week we had Nava, and she had possibly something she added. The other week someone talked about AI. You need to ask yourself, am I a kind of individual who continuously and consistently, without exception, I keep learning? Because if you are not learning, you are dying. There are no two ways about it. There is no way I'll say I'm in the current state. No, you're either climbing or you're going down. So what kind of environment have you embedded yourself into? What kind of network have you joined? I know some of you have joined amazing networks like BNI, Business Network International. Some of you a part of Rotary, for example, and you are constantly trying to learn. Make a deliberate effort. And those of you who lead people, and a number of you here do, you need to say, how am I making sure my people are continuously learning? Make it uncomfortable for them to stay in the same place. Tell them, in this institution, we do not tolerate you remaining stagnant. Why? That's the only way you can win in this age. Yeah, I like this quote. This is a quote by the late Nelson Mandela. Says, I never lose. I either win or I learn. And finally, it's this pursuit of excellence in values. Friends, the truth is that excellence can be able to give you an edge over your competitor. Just do it excellently. And no matter what you're making, even though you're making a cup of coffee, let it be excellent. Let it be excellent. Let people say that, that place is where you can get the best quality coffee. Yes, it seems to be in a location which is not very nice, but that's where you go. Excellence should be a continuous pursuit. I don't think it is a destination you reach. It's more of a pursuit you have. You always pursue excellence. Friends, every business, I saw a clip yesterday, I think it was from Zimbabwe, and the government there had decided that, I think there were, I don't know the number of sectors, but a good number of sectors. They had said those sectors are only reserved for Zimbabweans. And then they were interviewing the Zimbabweans saying, this is very good. Foreigners were coming to enter these sectors. And when I listened to it, I wished them luck. Because there is no safety at all in protecting the market by allowing people to say they will give a mediocre service. You have to ask yourself, why does someone come from New Delhi, arrive in Entebbe, and end up in a beam and outcompete a native there who has been in trading for the last 15 years? How does that happen? We need to interrogate, what are they doing? How consistent are they? If they say they open the shop at 6 in the morning, is it open? Does the shop close on burial services, the burial events? Or that shop is open all the time? We need to challenge ourselves and say, why aren't we reaching excellence? And I would like to challenge you as you reflect on your business this year. Have you been pursuing excellence? And how religiously are you pursuing it? How intolerant are you towards mediocrity? Friends, you need to understand that the customer is a fragile person. The moment they see something better, they will move on. Friends, you will leave the restaurant of your brother, same mother, same father, and go to the restaurant of someone you have never known because they prepare the best meal. And your brother will see you through the window in the other restaurant and say, but you, my own brother, you have left me. And deep down, you'll tell him that it's your meal. It's just not good. So when you are in an industry, I want you to ask yourself, who is that excellent person? One of the businesses I really like in this city, and I follow quite a bit, is Cafe Javas. Every time you enter that restaurant, there is something fascinating. There is always someone cleaning. It doesn't matter what time you enter, they are always cleaning. You leave a table, you did that in it, you just left one little piece of rice. It's all that is dropped, but it will be wiped off. Someone will come and clean it within 30 seconds of you standing off your table. Someone comes with a nice disinfectant and cleans it. But how many restaurants have you entered here in the city and even up country? And on the table is that same piece of rice, but it has hardened and it has formed a strong connection to the table. Removing it, you need a fork. It has hardened and it is there. And clearly, you know, this piece fell 2 weeks ago, but there it is. And when you arrive, you find the piece. Eat your food and leave the piece there. Possibly add your own. Say, but how can it be that a table can't be cleaned? So the challenge here, friends, is for us to say, are we pursuing excellence? Are we pursuing excellence in what we are doing? Because whichever way you look at it, you have to find it in you as a business owner to say that this business that I run is never going to rest until we are giving the very best that there is to give. And that's how you become a local brand. That's how you become a national brand. That's how you become a regional brand. That's how you become a continental brand. That's how you become an international brand, without exception. So that's the question. Let me quickly turn to the people. What about them? I'm going to challenge you to look at a couple of categories of people. First group of people I want you to look at is the customers. The second group of people is the employees. The third group of people is the suppliers. The fourth group of people is the bankers. The fifth group of people is the competitors. I want you to look at all these people and reflect on the relationships you have had with them. Let me quickly run through them. Let me start with the customers. First question is, are the customers returning? You had a customer in January. Did they come back in March? Did they come back in June? Did they come back in August? Did we see them in September? Have we seen them in December? Have they called you that they'll be back in January? That's a question. Before you look for new ones, ask the ones I had, are they returning? Are they telling others about you? Last week, did people call you and say, oh, you know, I met one of your customers. He told me you are the one who bakes the best cakes. I want to have a conversation with you. Did they tell others about you? Are they telling others about you? Friends, you need to understand that the number one marketeer you have is not your marketing manager. It is a satisfied one who can't sleep until they have talked about you. Have they tweeted about you? Have they put you on their status? Have they included you in their WhatsApp group? Have they talked about you? That's the customer you're looking for. And ask yourself if they're not, why? Is it because you also don't know them? Some of us have had customers for a long time, but the truth is we don't know who they are. We don't know the customers. We don't know them. Do you know their names? Do you know what they do? Do you know the customer? Because friends, whichever way you look at it, this is a wealth giver. The customer, if he remains happy, if he remains coming back, business will keep growing. So ask yourself, reflect on this customer. Number two, the staff. Do you still have them? Or they are just coming physically, but they left, emotionally they left. Some people are at your workplace simply because they need a place to have internet to prepare their CVs. That's the only reason they come. They are totally disconnected. They're totally disconnected. And they watch everything. You gave a job to your cousin. Your cousin does nothing, but he drives the company car. And the truth is that your cousin has added very little value to the business. Apart from the blood relationship with you, there is no evidence at all that your cousin has added value. Yet he's in the company car, it's air conditioned. And your marketing manager has the pain of being on a motorcycle. He brings in 80% of the business, but he can't get the company car. And right now, some of your competitors are chatting with him. They say, man, why don't you come? He's in negotiations. So do you still have them? Have they moved on? Because they could have. They're your staff members, yes, but they have moved on. Some of them have just decided, you know what, I'm going to start my own thing. And that's where the hearts are. Why have they departed? So take some time and assess your members of staff. Where are they at? Your suppliers, are they happy with you? Or are they hiding from you? You have a supplier who used to give you items on credit. When is the last time? Why is it the supplier says, no, for you, if you have money, you come? Someone who used to give you items worth 3 million shillings. Now, even though you're buying things of 200, he says, come with cash. What happened? What happened this year? You gave him 2 bounce checks. You promised you would pay, you did. And that compromised the relationship. What are your suppliers telling your competitors? Don't forget your suppliers don't supply only you. But what do they tell your competitors? What message are they giving the competitors? Because you need to understand that your suppliers, in as much as they are supplying you, they also supply competitors. And as they supply those competitors, there are key considerations that have to be made. They're saying, the other person, I have noticed that they don't, their systems are not as good. They promise they will pay you in 4 weeks, but they usually pay in 8. I like you pay me at least in 2 weeks. Then your competitor knows the edge they have over you is that they treat the suppliers better. That means they can get better discounts from the suppliers. What are your suppliers telling your competitors? Your bankers, are you facing them? Or are you currently in hiding from the bankers? Many entrepreneurs keep saying, the banker doesn't understand me. The banker doesn't understand me. How can't the banker understand you? He has another 20 businesses exactly like you. If there's anyone who understands you, it is the banker. Saying, no, banks, at least money lenders there, they don't ask many questions. But why is the bank asking questions? Is it for your sake or for just his sake? Friends, if you are having a bad relationship with your bank, I want you, as soon as this call ends, I want you to go and say, I need to repair this relationship. Say, I am looking for someone to buy all my loans. But even the person buying loans is a banker. And they follow the same rule book. They want people who pay and those who pay on time. So what are your bankers saying? Ask yourself that question. Are they willing to help? Are they extending a helping hand. Or you are also just swallowing. Don't forget, banks have targets. You are swallowing every offer they give you. What are your bankers selling? What kind of relationship exists there? Your competitors, is it time to fight them or it's time to unite? Should you be fighting your competitors, or you should be in an association to argue for better terms from the taxman, to argue from better terms from the regulator, for better services from the government? Or should you be fighting each other? What's your question? During the Global Entrepreneurship Week, one of our speakers at the Pakasa Forum was Mr. Antaki. And Mr. Antaki said something which was fundamental. He said that my competitor is my best friend. We compete and we are tough in the market, but I keep him close to me. Why? I might want to have some 2 tons of baking powder and I don't have them, they're not in the market, but my competitor has them in the store. I talked to him and said, give me that baking powder, I'll pay you, or I'll replenish it. You have a bit of excess, I need to keep in business. I was fascinated. He talked about Mr. Nzei of Hotlof with passion, yet he's also in the bread business. So you need to ask yourself, how am I treating my competitors? What exactly am I running there? Are there new ones in the market? Are there people entering the market? Sometimes you don't know who you are competing with. With the advent of the internet, it's possible to do business when you're not here. But you need to ask yourself, what kind of relationship am I running? Finally, you have to take a look at your cash flow, your net cash flow. Has money been made? And your family keeps asking this question, but you have been working very hard this year. Where is the money? Ask yourself that question. Where is the money? Which untapped opportunities exist that you haven't taken? Reflect on them. Some of them have been there, but you haven't seized them. What are they? What are those opportunities? They have been in the space, but they haven't been seized. The emergency fund. Is there a disaster fund you have put aside for yourself and for your business? Does it exist? Friends, that's a fundamental question. Most of our businesses are running on fumes. There is no reserve anywhere. But what emergency fund exists? How can we be able to work? And that might be your decision. You say that this year I'm finishing there after paying salaries and possibly a little bit I'll spend on Christmas. I'm left with nothing. That might be the big change you need to make in the new year. What needs to go to facilitate? If your business has been struggling, are there some idle assets that you can release? That's the decision. Some of us are holding on to assets that should have gone during 2025. The business is struggling. You are borrowing left, right, and center. You have an empty plot. You even have offers on the plot, but you have grown sentimental with the land. So this is my land. I remember how I bought it. I remember one of the things which Mr. Antake said during the session is that he had to sell a property to capitalize his business. And he said every time he went to the business, said it, you swallowed my property. You swallowed my property. And indeed, the business gave it back. But sometimes those are the sacrifices that we have to make to be able to win. Do I know all of them? What is the biggest? What liabilities do I have? That's a question you should ask yourself. Reflect. What liabilities exist? And how can I be able to deal with them? That's a good and important question. Debt. Am I bleeding? How much debt are you actually in? Are you in? Sometimes people think debt is just from banks, but you have borrowed items, you have taken items on credit. You have been constructing, you have iron bars you have already put in the building, but you haven't paid for them. How do you stop the bleeding? Those are tough questions. Your big decision this year may be that no, 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 I can't. I made money, but I paid all of it to the bank. How do I make sure I keep a bit more? How do I get out of this debt burden that I'm in? Those are important questions. So, friends, as I conclude, allow me to say that at the end of the day, you, the business owner, we want you to look in the mirror and be honest with yourself. What are your values? What are you doing with your people? Is there money coming in? What's the net cash flow? Take a look at your VPN. Why? Because at the end of the day, if you don't, small little leakages can be created. And at the end of the day, they can sink the entire ship. A big thank you. I'll hand back to Anita.
Thank you so much, Ronald. Ladies and gentlemen, if I were you, I would be right now in the chat. I would be clapping. I would be saying thank you. I would be, whatever it is you want to do to express your heartfelt gratitude. Ronald, thank you. I think this for me has helped me also as a business person to reflect, assess, and refocus. Focus on your VPN, your values, your people, and your net cash flows. And the question is, look in the mirror, or the advisor is, are you looking in the mirror? Are you looking in the mirror? Um, what do you see? It's a internal reflection. It's you who, yeah, it's you who knows whether you're naked or not. And these, for me, I think are key things as entrepreneurs we need as we enter into 2026. Thank you, Ronald. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we want to go into a session, a Q&A session. As you reflect, yes, and this session has come very, very timely. So even as you choose a chicken on Christmas, it is only you who knows your situation. It's only me as an entrepreneur. It's only me who knows. What people may see on the outside may not actually reflect what is actually going on, but it's you who knows. What are your values? Do you keep your word? Those promises you made, have have you fulfilled them? Uh, your values, integrity, adaptability in this AI age. Things are happening, and probably you choose not to adapt. What does that mean for you as a business? Told us to keep learning, and this is one of these platforms for learning. Business recovery series. How many have you attended this year, and how have they actually helped your business? Pursuit of excellence in whatever you do. Yes, I'll still echo. Yeah, you leave your own brother and walk into that restaurant, and he'll see you through the window and say, "You, my own brother, have left me because your neighbor has excellent services or nice food." And so, excellence. And because he said customers are fragile, they are very delicate and they move on so fast. So, ladies and gentlemen, again, please let's thank Ronald Mukasa for taking us through this very great session. Key learnings. My notebook is almost full. Thank you so much. And yes, Ronald, I'll just take you straight. If you want to ask a question, feel free to raise your hand. Feel free to raise your hand, and we'll be able to pick on you. But for now, there was some questions in the chat that I want to raise to you, Ronald. Raymond had said, thank you, Ronald. In the business journey, we have taxation issues, and of course, you hinted on them. So he says, we want to thank the URA for reaching out to the major taxpayers, businesses. Currently, they are busy training entrepreneurs in tax-related matters. How does Enterprise Uganda relate with URA? Taxation has also been one of the reasons many businesses have closed and others are bleeding. Please take note of that, Ronald. Eva, thank you. You raised a concern about us not having in our business categories during registration, not bearing property business rentals. We'll work on that. Aha, okay, great. The comments there have been thanking Ronald. I see. Yes, Mabel says this has been one of the best advice I've had as the year closes. I'm motivated for 2026. Okay. Thank you, Ronald. Again, number says, thank you, Ronald, for sharing with us important information. My take home is self-awareness and being realistic with our business status. And I want us to follow suit. Please go to the chat and just mention what has been your key takeaway. What is that one thing you're going to do in 2026? In line with the VPN that Ronald has ably shared with us, and I think it would be good if Ronald read some of our feedback to just know what we are running with from now till 2026. What is that one thing we've learned? What is that one thing we're going to do? What are we going to implement? Now, as I do that, I'm going to invite. As you do that, I'm going to invite Bruno. Bruno, please unmute and ask your question.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Hello? Okay, good.
Yes,
I'm on a
Bruno, go
road,
on.
but I would like to ask this. When I heard from him, and I want to thank Mr. Ronald. But when I listen through this, I find that yes, the business owner may have the vision, the better vision to work better with maybe the customers, but they are some of the time these employees that we do give our jobs to, and they tend not to even be in line with what we want to see. They tend not to follow the vision. How do I get my employees have a vision of a director, have a vision of the owner? How do I make them think like I can think, or think for the business as the proprietor? As I think about it, how do I get into that? Because you have said that, Ronald has said that they are part of our marketing team. Whenever they they are appreciating what we are doing, and they are posting maybe they are tweeting about it. Other people get also develop the trust in it. So how do I make them also trust us? Okay, own the business. Thank you.
Ronald, please do come in, and please remember the earlier question of URA and now Enterprise Uganda relates with URA. But please come and tell Bruno, how do we get our employees to buy into our vision and then they own it?
All right. Thanks a lot, Anita. Great. So for Raymond, that the taxation issue remains one of the biggest ones. We have noticed, actually through the years, we have observed that the biggest, some of the most attended, most followed sessions are those on taxation. And I hear you, more work has to go into sensitizing the country on taxation, sensitizing the businessman. Certainly, URA is has a task to collect taxes in a country where the tax to GDP ratio is very low. We Most people are not viewed by the taxman. Most people are not collected from by the taxman. So it's quite a challenging piece. And at the same time, the few who are viewed feel like the pressure is is very heavy. But I think that from the perspective of the business owner, really one of the things you need to appreciate is that taxation is part and parcel of your business. You can't ignore it. You can't sweep it under the carpet. It is there and it will remain. And that means that your greatest path is to ask yourself, how do I efficiently comply so that I can be able to avoid a lot of challenges with the taxman, and not even the taxes themselves, but there are penalties that the taxes come with. If I don't file, for example, I can get a penalty of 200,000 shillings. If I misfile, I don't have good records, I may get another penalty. And that is where the pain largely is seated. And I would like to challenge every business owner that we are entering into an era where having a tax advisor is not an optional thing. The tax advisor. Why do you have to have the tax advisor? You have to have the tax advisor because tax is part and parcel of your. The taxman is one of the stakeholders, the key stakeholders you have to deal with. For example, if you take a loan from the bank, you can't say, I'm going to ignore the loan. The loan is there. There is a commitment. So if you do business, you need to understand that. So you need to ask yourself, how do I walk away from being chased by the taxman to a position where actually it is me reporting to the taxman? You need to understand that we work in a tax regime where a lot of the law states clearly that we should report to the taxman. So we self-report, meaning that the government gives you the opportunity to say what profit did you make, the opportunity to say how many employees do you have, the opportunity it is, and if you do it, the government is in a position where they say, oh, we received it and we are happy with it. But the moment it's not done, the stick goes to the government now through the URA, which now can come and say, how do I make you comply? So friends, when it comes to taxation, and as Enterprise Uganda, we are going to, in this coming year, we're going to really invest a bit more in the so we will invest heavily in that space. But for I think that even as we get to that at an individual level as a business, you need to ask yourself, how do you educate yourself on the taxes? Even the URA has a very good content on YouTube, which it is trying to teach the population about how taxes are done. But you need to understand that at the end of the day, they have a mandate to execute, to collect those taxes, and they will come to you. And if the law is not followed, you will find yourself in a position where you could be, you could even have to close your business, which is very, very unfortunate because it's already difficult enough to build a business. So I think that you need to ask yourself this coming year, how do I have a more intimate relationship with a certified tax advisor? And sometimes if you can't afford them, at least talk to a friend who you know is an accountant, and just go to him and say, you know what, I'm dealing with these things. How can I be able? But don't choose the path of I will hide and see what happens. I think that wouldn't be the best path. The second bit, Eva, we will endeavor that we change that in our list. Nice to see you, Eva. Bruno asked, how do I get my employees to think like an owner? Bruno, this is a brilliant question. And one of the things which, in my opinion, is critical for you to get your team to think like owners is by allowing your team to actually think. You have to allow your team to make decisions. You have to allow your team to take some level of risk. You need to allow your team to even fail. Why? Because when they do that, they start operating like entrepreneurs within a bigger business. Every entrepreneur wants independence. Every entrepreneur wants to have an opportunity to be able to create something new. And we have that in us. But some people are employed, but that means they don't have it in them. So you need to create an environment where that can be done. Some of us, we create an environment which is so rigid that even a decision of 20,000 shillings, they'll say, no, let me call boss and I find out whether we can do this 20,000 shillings. I mean, you left someone at your shop and a customer comes and says, can I buy that piece of material at 45? One says, no, it is 50. Say, but what about 45? I have 45. Then the lady says, let me call the boss and see. But why should that be your decision? For sure, you should say you have these limits. And that kind of environment creates an appetite. It creates an appetite. It creates some kind of energy where you say, I am part of this business and my opinions are, are respected. And when that happens, you find that I start thinking more like you, the owner, because my opinion is respected. And when my opinion is respected, I know the owner respects my contribution to the business. And the other thing is that when you see a good employee, bring them closer. But when you see one who is lousy, don't waste time to cut them off. Friends, you need to understand that one of the most painful things for an employee is to see another colleague who does very little work, who is a poor performer, who is poorly behaved, but they see the owner keeping them. And then they feel like they're not being rewarded, yet they feel like they're putting in the work. And sometimes those employees who we keep, I talked about it earlier, they're the ones who are, this is the sister to my wife. This is the cousin to my brother. My cousin, very, very important person. Though that circle of employees, it creates an environment. Now, if your cousin is doing an excellent job, even their colleagues will be able to say, this cousin is a cousin of the boss, but they work. They will be able to see it. But if they are lousy and they're not delivering, then cut them off. And where punishment should be, let the punishment be made. Because the moment it is not happening, it creates an environment which actually stifles the workplace which you're in. I think the final one for me, a quick one would be, make sure you pay your people. Friends, Christmas is coming. Let the payment be made. Let the payment be made. There are no two ways about it. Your employees won't understand seeing on your status you are boarding the plane to go to Dubai. And yesterday you told them there is no money. Because they follow you. They say this is boss and his wife. And their 3 children, all of them, they have gone to Dubai. They even know how much you have spent. And their salary for November and December has not been paid. Pay, just get people paid. When people are paid, they know they are appreciated. It's a very small one. But such a common thing, especially in smaller businesses. So no, I haven't been paid for 3 months. I haven't been paid for 2 months. I haven't been paid for 2 months, but I see boss is roofing his house. I know boss paid school fees for his children in full. There are no two ways about it. The business owner eats last. And when your employees know deep down that the owner eats last, that you are the person who is the last in the room, they will work for you in a crazy way. Even in tough times, they'll say, I know that if this person had the money, they would put me first. That owner also, in return, puts you first. I'll stop there for now. Anita, back to you.
Thank you so much, Ronald. And Bruno, I know that you've gotten your answers very, very well. I wouldn't have anything much to add to that. Thank you, Ronald. We asked people to share their takeaway points, and Dora says, and Dora, we already mentioned. Yeah, Susan says, thank you for delivering a simple, this heart of mine, why is it showing 2024? It's supposed to be 2025. Okay. Thank you for delivering a simple business review method. VPN key takeaway is to pursue excellence to retain my customer. Okay. Julia says, thank you so much, Ronald, for the wonderful presentation. Surely next year will be better with this. Well, thank you, Ronald, for one key thing about business is excellence that builds the brand, and you will always have customers coming in because of quality. Those are key points people are taking away. I'm looking. Eva says, big thanks, Ronald. Sacrificing asset to expand investment is number one thing I take into 2026. Thank you for sharing your key takeaways. Dennis says, being excellent stood out for me. 3, where his excellence made the king make him the top leader and above all other leaders. Barbara says, reflect on what my suppliers are telling my competitors. Okay. I will focus on staffing with incentives tied to the value staff bring to the business, not relationships. VPN remains the best strategy and is highly appreciated by the team. Okay. Irene says, thanks, Ronald, for the advice. Tax advisors. What does N stand for? What does N stand for? Someone help Sevalu Mike. He asks, what does N stand for? Sevalu Mike, N stands for net cash flows. Margaret says, thank you for the session. John, you've sneaked in. I thought that was my last. John says, very insightful. Thank you, Ronald. Thank you, Enterprise Uganda. All right. So, Ronald, just like you see, people have shared their key takeaways. And so what I'm going to do is to invite you to give us your parting shots. I don't see any other questions. If you can come in and give us your parting shots. And Christmas blessings, yes.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Anita. I just wanted to say a big thank you to the Enterprise Uganda family. We value you. We appreciate you. We every comment you make, every encouragement you give us, every piece of guidance you give us as Enterprise Uganda, we totally appreciate it. Thank you for patronizing the Business Recovery Series for the entire year. It's been a long year, but we are totally grateful for your patronage, for your support. We saw many of you during the Global Entrepreneurship Week. We're excited to see you. And we look forward to an exciting 2026. On our part as Enterprise Uganda, we wish you a Merry Christmas and a prosperous 2026. We know we are in an election season, so please go out and make sure you vote for the right candidates. And we are rooting for you. We pray and believe that your businesses are going to succeed. And as an institution, we'll keep doing what we can to help you on this journey to win. A big thank you, stay blessed, and please send our love to your families, to your employees, to your teams. And from Enterprise Uganda, Merry Christmas.